music. There's no music for me to get my cup of coffee and the jam to, you know, like da 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 da. Cause I'm in the truck. Dang it. We're gonna go live for a little bit. We'll let everybody come in here while I fix these window blinds. Yes, I'm in the truck, as you can probably see. And, gee, Steve, why in the truck? We can. Gee, Steve, why do you talk to yourself? Well, we do have our coffee. Some people in here. Oh yeah, we do. Yay! All right. Welcome to the live show. Oh, representing the maiden today. I represent maiden every day. If it's not a mug or a T-shirt or my thing in the back. Is what it is. So what's up? Good morning to you, every single person. This is a little bit earlier than I normally go. Well, no, it's not. It's right at 7 o'clock. Never mind. I'm dumb. I've also lost track of time. Oh, and I also forgot to do this. There we go. Muted the phone. That way you guys aren't like... You guys are probably out there, you know, listening to it with the stereo. All of a sudden my phone rings and it's like, rah. So what's up, man? It is raining. Check it out. It is raining here in good old Joplin, Missouri. Otherwise known as Joplin, Missouri. And, Why is that significant? Well, that's significant to the title. So bear with me a second, right? Let me get this on the other thing so I'm not squinting at the phone. There's my live notification. All right. Let's do some shout outs. We got Thorn and Thunder. Did you get your truck fixed yet? Oh, looks like we got Circle of Death too. Morning, Steve, and all from Chicago. Don Schonger says, Pneumatic Brit, Don Schonger, Thorn and Thunder, suffering, waiting on you to sit down. Oh, that's funny. Use funny. Stage News. I was just listening, watching your latest video. Made some very good, valid points. I applaud you. That's a nice truck. Shannon, good morning. Donnie Luke, get that coffee going. I'm trying. Greg Zimmer, good morning. Pale Rider TV, what? So you were really in Iron Maiden before like trucking? I wish. If I was ever in a band like Iron Maiden, I would never, ever taken the path that I've taken. It would have been a different path. Sitting here watching the sunrise in the Louisiana Welcome Center. This place is really wonderful. Very scenic. Lots of birds singing. Beautiful view of the water. 20 minutes to take off. I love those rest areas there in Louisiana. They did them right. Them in Florida. Florida did theirs right too. And some of the ones in Georgia. Like the one on the Georgia-Alabama line on 20, that's pretty good one. There was one in upstate New York that was literally on the lakeside. It was awesome. It was tremendously cool. I think I did a live feed from there, maybe. When I was doing my box truck driving. So. But It's going to be a minute before it gets fixed. Was in Louisiana 2 days back, and it was 98 humid while I was getting loaded at chemical plant. Yeah, that's the worst part about that area, is the humidity. I remember when we first moved to Missouri from Phoenix, man, it was like, the humidity just from Missouri to Arizona was like horrid enough. It got used to it. And then I went down to Florida. I was like, oh wow, this is even worse. Fuel dropped 40 cents in PA last 2 days. Maybe we go to $1 a gallon soon. That'll be good. Yeah, it looks like fuel prices are coming down a little bit. I'll be interested to see the fuel price index when I get home with this in. Well, it won't show up till next week, but our discounts now. What's ironic is the last time I ran the truck, fuel was the highest it had ever been at that point, and I remember having some sticker shock as well. And then planning the fuel stops for this trip a month later. That was some really cool lightning. My discounted price is the same price of what I actually paid the last time. It's like that's how much fuel had jumped up again, and I was happy. You know, we're all celebrating that oh man, fuel's under $5 a gallon right here. I mean, isn't that kind of insane, really? You know, we went from, oh man, I can't believe fuel hit $4 to, woohoo, fuel's almost $5, yeah. Isn't that interesting how your mindset changes, or how it's changed for you? Gotta love inflation, right? Meanwhile, the man in charge said that corporations not getting taxed is the cause of inflation. You know, it's extremely hard for me to believe that someone that out of touch can be the leader of the free world, right? So that tells me that either they really are that dense and we're all in trouble, or they really think that we're that dense and they have no respect for our intelligence whatsoever. Now, granted, there's a lot of examples where they're right, but it's to say something like that means there's a narrative, right? Corporations are the problem. So one of those W9. No, it's a international. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's yeah, it's international. But yeah, it's reason why that distracted me, because the driver was walking around. Her pre-trip consisted of, everything looks good on the side there. All the lights are on, we're good. Anyways, what's the title about? Well, the title is about me. When I was at Landstar, I waited a lot. That's what you did at Landstar a lot of times. You go to low board and you go crap. No, crap. Oh, here's a load. Click. Oh, doesn't exist. Crap. Ooh, that one might be good. Oh, doesn't exist. But you were always waiting. It was like bass fishing in a dry lake. That's what it was. Like, you keep casting, hoping something's gonna happen, but it doesn't happen. I was dealing with that yesterday. And one of the things about rescuing a load is that now I'm forced in a situation that I may or may not have put myself in on a normal situation. That was probably the stupidest thing I've ever seen, or I've ever said. Let me rephrase that. Now I'm in a situation that I wouldn't have put myself in. And so now I'm taking the result of another driver's running style, their own method, what their things were, you know, what they like, right? And I'll get to that in a second, Rick. So I'm in Wichita, and to be able to get home for Memorial, they kept calling it funeral, but it's actually a memorial. I have to look for a specific load for a specific thing, for a specific time. And that's when you really kind of, you're gonna take it up the you know what. Because to find that unicorn load, which it exists, I've seen it. I have a plate trailer now behind me. I could utilize that. So I'm waiting on it, which is why I decided yesterday that there was nothing coming out of Wichita other than salt. And it didn't pick up till today. And by reading the reviews of these salt places, they got it wet down the trailer. I'm like, no thanks. Because if another driver needs this trailer, I'm like, well, here it is. It's been a sauna for 3 days, you know, because it was wet. You know, I just can't do that to somebody, right? But also, the reviews of these places, 8, 9, 10 hour load times, you know, and it's just, some reviews are accurate, some aren't, but I do remember some salt mine work that I did, you know, years ago, which is why I don't tend to do that, which is why I don't, look, you're getting 2 things out of Wichita, salt or paper, that's it. You might get lucky with a cardboard load, but those get snagged up just like that. And I've been to Pratt Paper many times in Wichita. I've been to Sherwin-Williams many times out of Wichita. I've been to the salt places there in Lyons a few times. I'm like, you know what? As soon as I get my time back, I'm gonna go to Joplin, because I know that there's stuff that comes out of here that goes to Springfield. I know that there's empty can loads that I can now do because, voila, I've got a plate trailer now, right? And there's even some drop trailer loads that I could do because don't need this trailer right away. So, and most of the drop trailer loads around here are like 3 or 4 days at the most. But the whole point is I came to Joplin hoping for that unicorn load, and I didn't want to really deal with the trailer in the dark, you know, and I was, you know, I didn't feel like going home just yet yesterday. And now it looks like I'm going to be dropping the trailer in the rain. And there's still no loads, and I spent one more night in the truck. So the moral of the story is sometimes you wait too long, and what you need to have happen doesn't happen. So when do you move on, or when do you know, keep fighting the fight? Now, technically, I don't have to be home till tomorrow morning, but the reality is that I'm probably just sitting here wasting APU fuel. So, but you know, we don't give up, right? It's not even 8 o'clock yet. 8 o'clock is when this stuff kind of pops off. I've been checking the click and goes for that stuff, and there's been a couple of things, but the rates just don't, you know, to do a 100-mile deadhead on top of what I've already done from Wichita, and then have to do a 150-mile deadhead back to Springfield for $600. It's really not helping anything. So it's what it is, right? And the drop trailer loads tend to go for $1,000. And people are like, well, Steve, why can't you just call the broker that has that? Well, guess what? That broker that has that keeps changing. It's something that's getting passed around, so that tells me it's a 3PL, or the lowest bidder always gets it, which means I'm not going to get my $1,000 for that. So I don't know. But at any rate, we'll probably be going home here soon. I have to book. I got 2 trucks that are going to be empty Friday that I'm going to need to book their weekend. And, so there's work to be done. I can dispatch from the truck, but it's a little bit more difficult because I don't quite have everything set up the way I want yet. So I'm waiting here, and it probably looks like I'm going to be playing in the rain for a little bit, which is fine. I'm tough. I can handle it. Jose, good morning. Pneumatic Break, good morning. Big Tex, hey. Jeremy Rice, don't just my method. You rear end might fall out. Don't use my method. Mr. Somewhere, Thor, great lessons the other day. OTGBU taught it up. Good job, brother. That's not the same Thor, I don't think, Shannon. Thor and Thunder, click on his thing, you can go to his channel. He's a light trucking contractor. The other Thor is somebody else, I think, if that's what you were referring to. Rick LP says, word on the street, we could be at $10 a gallon by the end of the year. Thoughts? Yeah, that's going to happen probably. I don't know. They're preparing for it to happen, so that tells you something. Look, here's the deal. Unless some major breakthrough thing happens, this crisis of fuel increase is not going away. Other countries have attacked our supply chains on everything from food to fuel. And guess what? That's a crisis no one's talking about. Well, I mean, a few people are talking about it, but we're all blaming the president. We're all blaming, look close there, Spread Axel. Jeez. We're all blaming, things that we're all blaming phantom ghosts, I think, is what we're doing, because the reality is we're under attack, and in so many different ways that if you look at all the micro strategies that are going on, it really kind of brings this despair to myself. I really don't have this hope of future, and so when you read reports that they're programming the pumps to be able to handle $10 a gallon, it doesn't happen for no reason, right? So unless some major shift happens, it's only going to get worse, and unfortunately, that major shift will probably be some big, huge natural or man-made disaster in order to change the course. But right now, the ship's heading for rough waters, and we don't have the mental gumption to get through it. Sorry to be such a sourpuss this morning, but that's the reality of it. And so, when you see what's happening to our kids in the schools, when you see what's happening to ourselves with the food that they feed us, did you know that part of the baby formula shortage was because they had to shut down the plant in Michigan because they found like 4 babies died from some contaminants? Can you imagine Can you imagine that you're a young family, you know, you've decided that you're going to raise a kid, and you know, you give them what you think is a safe product, and your kid dies of that? Can you imagine that? I couldn't imagine that. The reality is most baby formula is bad for you anyways. It's all soy, and it's all soy protein, which is not good for your hormonal health, male or female. And when you have hormonal imbalances that are created early in life, that's kind of part of the reason why we're here, where we're at. Don't believe me? Look at the studies. Look at the people that went on the carnivore and keto diets, and how much better their health's become. You have people in their 60s and 70s defeating long-time type 2 diabetes and heart issues. You have people losing 100, 200 pounds because they're no longer eating soy and vegetable oil seed, or, you know, seed oils based products. Sugar, processed carbs, processed anything, and seed oils such as, you know, vegetable oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, canola oil. Look up a video of how canola oil's made, and you can't tell me that that's good for your body. But it's seen as a healthy alternative because they want you sick. They want you just at the point of sickness that you're addicted. You know, and food addiction is real, people. Food addiction is real. And it's these processed foods that create that. You know, you can't be addicted to steaks because that would be very costly. But you can still be, you know, so it's, I don't know, it's the clarity that comes with cleaning your diet, and it all starts from when we're kids. You know, stop giving your kids candy. Stop giving your kids Easter candy and Halloween candy. You know, stop giving them soy-based products, because that's what's screwing up the hormones. That's why there's like 15 different, you know, things going on. That's why you have to hit other on your application to something versus just the two. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So is $10 gas going to be a bad thing? Absolutely. The last housing crash happened around the time that gas went up. Gas going up is usually a precursor to inflation. Now, Jeff and I had a really good talk about stocks yesterday, and it was pretty interesting to think. You know, it's pretty interesting to see that how his mind works. You know, you can either see destruction or you can see opportunity. That's how an entrepreneur works, and you can clearly see that with what keeps going on in his mind. Still on vacation? Y'all keep the wheels turning. Ratman, good morning. If you're on vacation, why are you here? Gosh, go enjoy life. I think it's caused demand for fuel is slowing way down. Look, if demand for fuel goes down, prices will actually come down. That's how it worked the first time back in 2009. People found other ways. They sold their big gas guzzlers, and that kind of helped correct prices. But the reality is we don't have control over it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You can tell Jeff's getting fed up with YouTubers spreading half-truths on rates. Sean, here's the deal. If you notice, I don't talk about rates. If you notice, I don't put a whole bunch of numbers out there because everybody's numbers are going to be different. The rates that some people are getting are not going to be the same. Look around you at the truck stop. If you're at a truck stop, look around. Every single truck, let's do that, right? Every single one of these trucks has a different platform. That guy's needs are different from that guy's needs. And that guy's needs is different from that guy's needs, right? That guy has different needs than what this guy does, right? And so when you look at the national average, there's that, all that does is that shows you a trend, right? If everybody's making the same decision at once across the country, that's a trend. Where does that trend come from? And then you figure out why that trend's happening. Why are rates suddenly horrible to go into Texas, but they're great coming out? So you look at, you know, why are the brokers not willing to pay you to do this, but they're willing to pay you to do that? Or why are the brokers waiting till the last minute to book something and then end up screwing themselves because now they got to put it off on a higher rate? All these things factor. So if the idea that less than $2.50 a mile freaks you out, you're in the wrong business, because I came from a world where $2.50 a mile was the absolute greatest thing that you could ever get on a long haul run. Short hops, done stuff for $10 a mile. But, you know, so it goes to the whole, $5 a mile does no good if it's like over 3 days for 5 miles, right? $1 a mile is no good if it goes over, you know, 2,800 miles that, you know, in the course of a week. So the rate per mile is it's just one of like 15 ways that one needs to be looking at. So you have a bunch of people bragging and trying to recruit for a company. Okay? That's great. But see, here's the problem. When people make a decision, they want to justify it. And so they find reasons to justify it. And so it's easy to go, you know what, the rates are bad, I want a secure thing. Or I can't seem to get good rates, so I want a secure thing, so I'm going to go do this for a minute. Good on you. Excellent. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But the problem is that people want to prove other people wrong, or they want to say, well, if you try to survive this less than 250 mile thing, you're going to not make it. So you fear so you can do what I'm doing, because I was afraid. You know, I mean, and there's a marketing strategy where people want to insult the other way of doing things to sell their product. It was kind of like, you know, back in the burger war days, you know, oh, McDonald's, they fry their burgers. That's a horrible way. Eat our food. Look at political campaigns. You know, you'll have someone go, oh, so-and-so does this, and so-and-so is a horrible person, so-and-so does this and does this. And that's their ad versus telling me what do you plan on doing, right? So when it comes to, yeah, Jeff is frustrated because it's more than just looking at the rate per mile. You know, when I book freight for myself or for others, I'm looking at the bigger picture, right? If I throw something that's less than a certain amount and it's followed by something that's a bigger amount, you can't look at every single load individually as a gauge for success. For example, the way I do my numbers, the next load, regardless of whatever I do, is going to be about $1 a mile when I add up all my empty miles. So that's a loss, right? Because obviously my costs are going to be above $1 a mile. And anybody who tells you that their costs are $1 a mile, they're lying, or they don't know their numbers. Flat out. Because fuel alone is about 60 to 70 cents a mile right now. And you can't tell me that, 30 cents is your insurance, your truck and trailer payments, and your low boards, and your food at the crappy McDonald's. That all comes out to just 30 cents a mile. Oh, and don't forget maintenance and taxes, right? So anybody who tells you that their costs are below $1.50 a mile, they're not doing their numbers. Not in this world today. Maybe 2 years ago, yes, but not in this world, not today. Even with the paid off truck. Ask me how I know, right? So now here's the other thing. The majority of recruiters out here in the trucking industry don't even drive trucks. Their job is to be a messenger of what the company does. And so you gauge a recruiter about how truthful they are and how much information they know about their company. If you go up to a recruiter and say, hey, how does so-and-so pay, and what do they do on this situation, and what's their policies on this, and you go, I don't know, I'll have to look into that. That's not a very good recruiter. And I've seen those recruiters at the CDL mills. I've seen those recruiters on the interwebs. And come to find out that the guy was hired like a month ago and's never driven a truck, and literally knows nothing about their own company that they've decided to be hired on with. And so when it comes to recruiting, you have to take it with a grain of salt. You can't believe. You have to talk to the drivers, the ones that are actually doing it. And of course, numbers are going to be exaggerated one direction or another to validate the reason to come to a certain company or come to a certain platform or to get out of a platform. If you want to leave the spot market because the rates are lower than what you want to do it for, then that's fine. I don't care. But we have to make a big stink about it on YouTube, because everybody else, you want to prevent everybody else's suffering. And the reality is that, look, we just need to stay in our own lanes. We just need to focus on what I need to do, what we need to do, what you yourself has to do. If you want to change the world, you got to change yourself. You got to start with yourself. And so, that's the bad thing about social media, is that we don't know how to stay in our lane. So here's some advice that covers all platforms. It covers all platforms. It covers, I don't care if you're a company driver, spot market, shipper, broker, it doesn't matter. Here's the advice. Read your contracts. Know what you're getting into. Know what's involved in the dotted line. Have a backup plan just in case things don't work out. Don't take the word of 1 or 2 or 3 people before you make a major decision in your life. Do the research. The interwebs can be a wonderful place full of lots of research. Unfortunately, you got to filter out the bad, right? And what we have demonstrated in our little circle of hell that we call YouTube is that no one reads their contracts. No one stays at one place for very long. No one has consistency. And I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I can't even put the words in my head, right? Out of my head. I'm telling you that consistency builds everything. It builds the good, it builds the bad. If you're consistently bad at something, you are having a tough life. If you are consistently good at something, you are doing well. And so, what good's that $5 mile load if you only get $1 a mile for the rest of the week? It's consistency. Consistency builds carriers, it builds brokerages, it builds wealth, it builds knowledge, it builds everything. Consistency. And by rescuing this load, I went into an area that's known for inconsistency on their freight, which is why I don't go there. And you can say, well, you don't know how to run the entire country. You don't know. You've only run certain lanes for yourself, Steve. Why? Because they're consistent. Do you know why I bounce from Missouri to Ohio all the time? Because it was consistent. And when it's not, I find the next consistent lane. And it's only until recently that I've had to rearrange that. During the shutdowns, there was Spartan's company, that Spectre's company, that they were doing loads to Salt Lake and back. That was consistency. We had a couple of guys over here still getting 20 grand a month at $2 a mile because they had consistency. That is what creates wealth. That is what creates the building blocks of anything that you need to do. If you go to Lowe's to buy lumber, and let's say all the 2x4s were like mismatched, and 15 are warped and 3 are shorter than the other, and it was just like this hodgepodge of wood. Could you build a house with that? No. The 2x4s have to be uniform. And so people that are hopping from trucking job to trucking job to trucking job to trucking job, and I'm not talking about just the obvious. I'm talking about everybody that does that, because guess what? I know a lot of people that do that on and off YouTube. Okay? If you're the kind of person that's had 10 different companies in the last 5 years, you probably just don't like trucking. And you can't build consistency if you're constantly changing jobs. I'm the kind of guy that would love to stay at a company for 20 years if it builds me consistency, where I know what my paychecks are always going to be, and there's room for advancement, right? So it's supposed to be 96 down here in South Georgia today. Here we go. Dying Breed. What's up, man? Behind on comments. TA can't even handle pumping on all pumps. They have to program for that. There's going to be one pump working at every TA. Baby formula, just the goat milk method. Corn syrup. Yes, Top Dog, you're right. Baby formula is corn syrup. Man, I'm really behind on comments. I'm sorry, guys. Diesel bro, I would agree to that. In Europe, kids are dying because of contaminated chocolate surprise eggs. Production factory didn't clean out filters. Wow. Holy crap. Jordan B, good morning. Dr. Chris Noble, an eye doctor, made connection between macular degeneration and seed oils. Has interviews on YouTube. LBC. I believe that too. Smooth truck and looking good. Thank you. Truck with T-Bone. Anthony Bressler. Use avocado oil or single source olive oil. Sometimes they blend olive oil with canola oil. Canola oil, look, again, I can't express to you how much canola oil is bad for you guys. I mean, it's literal trash. Cottonseed oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, vegetable oil, peanut oil. It's all just, that's what's causing your inflammation. That's what's causing your legs to swell up. That's what's causing for you to retain water and your back to hurt. And it's also attributing to cancer and things like that. I laugh at people saying I'm parking it until it blows over. I guess they don't have bills. And Top Dog, let's talk about that. Man, I'm really behind on comments. I'm sorry, guys. CDN's in the house. If I was driving my own truck, I would need $1.80 a mile. Based on what? Just your home expenses, Big Houston? I've been in a house that I feel was built like that. All right, everybody's done. Okay, so Top Dog, I'm switching companies because the company I am. Carlos says I'm switching companies because the company I am don't offer fuel discounts. Carlos, that's a strategy, right? That's a strategy. And if you're an owner-operator and the company will let you have your own fuel company or fuel card, then that's another route you can do. If you like the company but just hate their fuel discounts and they let you have your own card, that's something to look at. But I get that. That's a strategy, right? And there's some people that switch jobs out of strategy. I've switched jobs out of strategy. But it's the people that don't even stay at a place for a year. Those are the ones that are having trouble building. They're either not doing enough research before they switch, or they fall to the grass is greener mentality. I want to go back to Top Dog. I laugh at people saying parking it until it blows over. I guess they don't have bills. And see, that's what the EIDL and the PPP loans did last time. And so now you have a bunch of people that don't have that money anymore, that don't know how to handle a down market. And the reality is I've always prepared for a down market, because it always happens. It's happened 3 times since I've been an owner-operator. And except this time it's different because of the increased prices on everything from fuel to tolls to, you know, the crappy cheeseburger you should be eating at the truck stop. Hit the thumbs up. New drinking game. I do say the word consistent a lot because it's important. If I say something a lot, it's important, except for, you know. Or I'm pretty bad with sometimes too. You know. So I think we all do that. I get excited and I forget that, you know, I sometimes I sound like an idiot. So, but anyways, that's the gist, right? That's the gist. And sitting at home, not generate. See, here's the thing. I'm at home, right? I'm at home a lot, but I'm generating income from different sources. So yes, I can afford to sit things out if things get that bad, but I don't. If there's a rate or load I can do, I'll do it, as long as it doesn't affect the 3 other people that I have dispatching, as long as it doesn't affect light trucking. And Jeff has gone out of his way to help me create streams of income while I'm at home, because he would rather have me at home. And that way I can cover on the Axis stuff. That way I can be ready with my computer in case something goes down. You know, he'd rather have me out of the truck. And that's what I base my business off of. I'm actually probably taking a loss on this load rescue because of the fuel. Now I've gotten good fuel mileage on this trip. I've been very impressed. And this trailer has skirts, and I'm almost kind of rethinking that. You know, maybe the skirts do help with fuel mileage. That much though? I mean, I don't remember that much difference, but you know, eventually, you know, I noticed that rates came up a little bit, and that's the beauty of being or dispatching, is I've really kind of acquired skills that I didn't really have before to deal with different environments and to look at things differently, to look at the load boards differently. And there's I don't know, I'm having trouble putting the words to things this morning, and I apologize for that, but I've built my business around what I do, how I do things. So I'm not going to be the guy that tells you that my way is the be all end all, because it's not. It wouldn't work for you. It may not work for that person over there. It may not work for the person with the big hooded chromed out chrome shop mafia truck that's hauling tanker. You know, those guys probably laugh at us, you know, because they're not getting spot market rates. They're not, you know, they're not looking at low boards for freight. They have built their business on some other kind of platform, and that works really well for them, or so it may seem. So I mean, and so for one or all of people on social media tell you that their way is the only way, it's wrong. And I just ignore people that say things like that, because it's not true. You know, what good's $3 a mile if your costs are $4.50 a mile? You know, what good's you know, saying that you've kept your costs down to $1.50 a mile, but you're only running, you know, 1,000 miles a week and everything's paid off, but you're also saying that because you're not doing the math. And then, you know, a month later you go out of business, and you know, people are like, well, why do you go out of business? This costs were only $1.50 a mile. How did that happen? Well, because he wasn't doing the math. So it is what it is. Bottom line is, sometimes sitting around waiting for something to change is not a good idea. And that's exactly what I'm doing. It makes me a hypocrite, because I'm sitting here waiting for that right load before I go all the way home. Even though Jeff has told me he'd compensate me if I went home empty, because he wants to make sure I can get home for my friend's memorial that's happening tomorrow, right? But I want to maximize while I'm out here. So, you know, hey, you know, I'll run the APU tonight, you know, last night, and I slept good. Nice rainstorm. And, you know, if I make some money, cool. If not, then we'll try again next week. We'll see. All right, John. John, your goal is to get to that TA shut down in time so you can deliver first thing in the morning, and then you'll be ready to roll, and I'll have something for you. Trailer skirts are like parachutes. They catch the air and make the truck trailer unstable. That's been my experience. Welcome back in a windstorm. Yeah, I had a gust of wind the other night that about made me cry. It made me scream for a minute. Now I was like, I saw that the weather was getting tough, and you know, and there was a couple of wind gusts that got me on the side, and I was like, and I was 38,000 pounds. Why many owner-operators struggle is the chase the best paying load at that minute. No consistency. Very difficult to sell your service. Value jumping around. CDN gets it, And how does he know that? Well, he's been in the business for a long time on the other side of the phone there. And guys, I can't wait to start putting out the CDN stuff, because he's got some knowledge that will help every single one in this chat, either by example or by the facts or by both. Nittany Lion, good morning. At what point in this economy does stuff start getting sold off off the back of the trailer? That's already happening. Eric talked about that a couple of videos ago. Thefts are on the rise, and that was, look, when my dad was truck driving back in the 80s, that was a common thing. You know, that like if you bought a new TV, you probably bought it off the back of the truck. If you bought a radar detector, which were not illegal for the most part back in those days, you bought it off the back of the truck. You know, the cargo thefts are up 14%, I think is what was said in Eric's video. And so you're going to start seeing insurance companies like, well, we ain't handling that, so guess what? Now your insurance rates go up. And you're going to see diesel fuel thefts. They're probably on the rise. It's going to be like Mad Max out here at some point if fuel gets high enough. And it's going to be tough. I mean, no doubt about it. And you got to find a way to kind of shield yourself from that. You know, all the time at Hunts Point. Yes, I remember that. My dad went in and out of Hunts Point all the time, and it definitely, I mean, my dad would bring home all kinds of good stuff, you know, that he acquired at a truck stop from someone selling it. So Welcome Back says they've been selling stuff off the rail cars here for many years. Yeah, and that's going to get worse. I mean, there's some footage in LA of all these trains, you know, the cargo trains getting basically, looks like a tornado went off. You know, people are like literally breaking in, opening boxes. Oh, I don't like this, and throwing it aside. I mean, that's, look, there are parts of this country turning into a third world country. That's a fact. If that doesn't raise any alarms that things are on the wrong track, you know, that open your eyes. It's happening everywhere. The cops recommend not fully stopping at lights in the nighttime. Yep. I mean, that's the world we live in, and so people that go to Hunts Point all the time, they're used to that, right? They kind of know the area. They know, you know, what to do, what not to do, and it's been like that for many years. New York was a very dangerous place in the 70s and 80s, and it kind of calmed down for a minute because all the rich people moved there, but now all the rich people have left because of the shutdowns and the riots. So now New York is going back to its glory days of the late 70s, early 80s. So there's that. I'm flatbed, and when lumber prices went up, I had fellas joking about helping themselves to my load. Yep. You know, what amazes me is when they ship copper plates, that would even go on a flatbed because it's right there out in the open, right? I picked up a load of copper plates in a dry van a couple of times, and I was shocked to see the flatbeds. I'm like, really? Okay. Of course, they got rules. You know, you can't leave the trailer unattended. You can't drop the trailer at all. You know, it's you know, strict rules, but even if all your revenue comes from the low board freight, you have to figure out how to stand out when you're one truck and dock 15 or 26. Can you find a way to leave a memorable impression versus the other 25? And you know, what I've noticed, CDN, it's funny you mention that. When I look at the reviews, I look at the names of people that leave the reviews. And I notice that most of the bad ones tend to have the same kind of names. And it makes me wonder if there's like a language disconnect, which is why they might feel that way. And you can kind of see the preferential treatment sometimes just through the reviews. But you know, it's how do you present yourself at the customer? How do you present yourself when you call somebody? How do you present, look, Big Rig CEO and I were having a good conversation yesterday about the lack of professionalism with brokers. And if you're the guy who's trying to create relationships and trying to create, a good Rolodex of people you can call, that's getting harder and harder to do. All of us can say you need to build relationships here on YouTube all you want, but the reality is that there's a lot of brokers that are making that a challenge, and so you got to rise above that challenge, because you got to prove your point even more so to the right person that that you're worth something, and just as they have to prove to you that they're more than just the guy trying to get the lowest rate. That will chew up and spit out trucks because he doesn't care, because there's enough trucks. I don't care about those guys. Get away from those brokers. If I had a load of copper, I would tarp it, but then you risk ripping up your tarps there, John. I've never seen copper tarped. Berkeley Trucking, good morning. I wish Big Rig CEO would get back to doing videos. I'm going to screenshot and send that to him. Now, I will say this. Big Rig CEO and I were talking. Big Rig CEO and I were talking. I think I'm going to bring him up on the channel on the regular, because he is also a carrier owner. He's running the reefer side. And I think he does better. He's not as comfortable in the space as I am, so I think that's why he hasn't done videos in a while. He's just been really busy dealing with a lot of things. And I told him he's kind of a natural, that he'd be good, but he struggles with it. But I think he's up for coming up on my channel every now and then. So I have blankets to protect my tarp. So there you go. See, you found the solution. If that copper's paying, and I know you're not an owner op, but if that copper's paying and it keeps it secure, then there you go. But it doesn't take much to kind of look through the tarp. But it does make it harder to steal. Now, James has got a lot of good input, and he's learning the spot market. He's been in it for a year now, and he's learning. He's learning a lot of the things that I've said to him, like, yeah, this is what you're going to deal with, this is what you're going to deal with. And he's learning the ropes. And he came in on a hot market that got even hotter as time progressed for him, and then this drop is kind of taking him by surprise. This is taking many by surprise, and and that's normal. That's normal to be, to see your income. It's normal to look. It's normal to freak out to see your income drop 20% suddenly. It's normal to see your costs go up and be shocked by it if they go up 30-40%. Like they have, and with shops, fuel, and tolls. We have only been warned of hijacks of tank and truck and what we need to do. Pneumatic Brit, I got when I first became a driver, it did the hazmat thing, and that was both Landstar and Transland. They were like, they played us videos of like how to deal with truck hijackings, you know, when it came to the hazmat stuff. And I think it's amazing that they put the placards on the trailer that literally tells you what the product is for all to see. And that blows my mind. I mean, I understand why they do it, but at the same time, if I'm a terror guy looking for some explosives, well, hey, there's a trailer right there that says explosives on it. I'm gonna go see what that's about, right? No, Berkeley, he doesn't, and he's another one that I could pair up with. He's also learning some lessons with the switch to flatbed, and he has a lot of good input. Because, you know, I hang out with people that do the research. I hang out with people that don't just make the quickest change at the first sign of trouble. I hang out with people that are in the trenches, and you know, we value each other's information. A lot of the knowledge that I've acquired in the last 2 years, especially with the last 6 months of dispatching, is that the more people I have in my pocket on knowledge and okay, what are you seeing here? You know, you run the Northwest. What are you seeing? What's your strategy? How are you making that work? And if they do something that I think is like, well, you know, I'd be cautious about that, you know, those kind of things, right? And sometimes you have to put yourself in a position that you normally wouldn't want to do. Like, the only thing left on the billboard is to go west. Okay, well, I might as well do it, so I'm not sitting for 3 days. And that's how you survive. You create a circle of friends that are successful and can help you. Not just, I'm not asking to mooch off anybody, but that they can help you. Like, hey, look, you know, I'm kind of having trouble here. Can you help? And they go, yeah, man. Here's what you can do. And let me open this door for you, or let me make this phone call for you. Here's a phone number of someone that can help solve your problem, and let me know how that works out. And if you're kind of a scumbag, people don't want to do that for you. They don't want their business to reflect off for your actions. So if your actions are hurting your own business or hurting other businesses, they don't want to be a part of that. So you're not going to get a lot of help. If you're constantly burning, you know, bridges and connections, and you're only going for the highest bidder, it's tough to create consistency with that. There you go. Take another drink, LVC. And so if you surround yourself with good people that can really help you in times of need, then we all support each other, and that's what needs to happen. And I have a core group of awesome people that I can rely on, and then they come to me for things. It's not like I'm completely helpless mooching off everybody. I've got people that call me for support, they call me for knowledge, they call me for experience, they call me for dispatch, they call me for, hey, you know, let's have lunch. I'm coming through Springfield. Whoa. I saw like a weird looking Western Star. I wonder if I can catch that in the camera real quick. Look at the hood on that Western Star. The raindrops. It's a short hood. Looks like a Coronado almost. It's like they literally took the hood of a Coronado and made it a Western Star. Huh. The things you see. Maybe those have been around a minute. I don't know. I don't hang out at truck stops anymore. But anyways, it's 8 o'clock, guys. Steve, maybe you try a similar idea. We're going to try do a short 10-12 minutes interview with Big Rig CEO about a specific question or topic. Format: intro, welcome, video, discussion, 67 minutes, repeat. That's a good idea. Butch, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. The stock market is rigged. It's been rigged for years, and it's used as a tool to keep people in fear. Yes, I believe that too. So how do you capitalize on that, right? Look, if you know things are going south with something, how do you capitalize on that? How do you survive? You know, surviving sometimes is dodging, hiding in the bushes, dodging, you know, certain activities, you know, and think about how we won the Revolutionary War. We thought, man, standing in a line waiting to get shot, that seems like a dumb idea. So let's hide in the bushes and take care of this the right way. And here we are. You know, we're throwing that all away, but that's a different topic for a different day for the other channel. So that being said, thanks for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate the members. I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate the super thanks. If you don't mind, if you feel that I've enriched your life in any weird form, fashion, then be sure to maybe click that little heart that has the little dollar sign and click on that. Surround yourself with good people. Keep your head in the game. Don't freak out. And the world needs a lot of changing, but first you got to start with yourself. So with that being said, peace. Be good, be safe. Strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Later.